Build yourself so strong that life can't break you. Not because life will stop testing you, but because you decide that no test will define you. There comes a moment in every person's life when excuses expire, when the blame game becomes exhausting, when you finally look in the mirror and realize that the person staring back at you is both the problem and the solution. And that realization, if you don't run from it, can transform everything. You were not created to be fragile. You were not designed to collapse under pressure. You were built with the capacity to endure, to adapt, to rise again and again. But strength is not automatic. Strength is built. And anything that is built requires intention, discipline, and consistency. Most people are waiting for life to get easier. But the truth is, life does not get easier. You get stronger. And if you're waiting for comfort before you take responsibility for your growth, you will wait forever. Because comfort is not the environment where strength is formed. Pressure is. You don't develop resilience when everything is going your way. You develop it when things fall apart and you choose not to. When people walk away and you decide to stay committed to your purpose. When you fail, not once but repeatedly. And instead of labeling yourself as a failure, you treat failure as feedback. Understand this. Every challenge you face is not there to destroy you. It's there to reveal you. It reveals your mindset, your habits, your level of preparation, your emotional control. Life is constantly exposing what's inside you. And if you don't like what's being revealed, then it's your responsibility to rebuild yourself from the inside out. Building yourself requires discipline, not motivation. Motivation is emotional. It comes and goes. Discipline is a decision. It stays even when you don't feel like it. And the people who become unbreakable are not the most talented. They are the most disciplined. They show up when it's inconvenient. They work when it's uncomfortable. They stay committed when it's boring. You cannot build a strong life with a weak mindset. The way you think determines the way you act. If your mind is filled with doubt, fear, and limitation, your actions will reflect that. But if your mind is trained to see opportunity in adversity, growth in pain, and purpose in struggle, then nothing life throws at you will be wasted. Guard your mind. Be intentional about what you allow into your thoughts, because your thoughts are not just ideas, they are seeds. And whatever you plant consistently will grow. If you plant negativity, you will harvest defeat. If you plant belief, you will harvest strength. But strength is not just mental, it's also emotional. You must learn how to control your emotions instead of letting them control you. Because life will provoke you. People will disappoint you. Situations will frustrate you. And if you react to everything, you will drain your energy on things that don't deserve it. Strong people are not those who feel nothing. Strong people are those who feel everything, but still choose wisdom over reaction. They don't ignore pain, they process it. They don't suppress emotions, they manage them. They don't let temporary feelings dictate permanent decisions. And then there is character. You cannot talk about strength without talking about character. Because true strength is not just about what you can endure. It's about who you become in the process. It's about integrity when no one is watching. It's about consistency when no one is applauding. It's about doing what is right, even when it is hard. Your character is your foundation, and if your foundation is weak, no matter how high you build, it will eventually collapse. But if your foundation is solid, you can withstand storms that would destroy others. Stop trying to impress people. Focus on improving yourself, because approval is temporary, but growth is permanent. The more you invest in yourself, your knowledge, your discipline, your mindset, the less dependent you become on external validation. And let's be clear, building yourself is not a one-time event. It is a daily commitment. Every single day you are either getting stronger or weaker. There is no neutral. The habits you repeat, the thoughts you entertain, the decisions you make, they are either building you or breaking you. So ask yourself, what are you doing daily that makes you stronger? Not occasionally, not when you feel like it, daily. Because life does not test you based on what you intend to do. It tests you based on what you have consistently done. When pressure comes, you don't rise to your expectations. You fall to your level of preparation. And many people break not because life is too hard, but because they are not prepared. They haven't built the mental toughness, the emotional control, the discipline required to withstand adversity. So when life hits, they collapse. But you don't have to be that person. You can decide today that you will build yourself intentionally, that you will stop running from discomfort and start embracing it as a part of your growth, that you will take responsibility for your life, your mindset, your habits, because no one is coming to build you. No one is coming to save you. You are responsible for you. And the moment you accept that responsibility, responsibility. You take back your power. You stop being a victim of circumstances and start becoming the architect of your life. You stop blaming the past and start building the future. You stop waiting for change and start creating it. Strength is not about never falling. It's about refusing to stay down. It's about getting up every time life knocks you down and saying, I am still here. I am still growing. I am still becoming. So build yourself. Build your mind so it cannot be easily shaken. Build your discipline so it cannot be easily broken. Build your character so it cannot be easily compromised. Because when you become strong on the inside, life loses its ability to control you on the outside. And when that happens, you don't just survive life, you dominate it. Master your mind before life masters you. Because whether you realize it or not, something is always in control. If it's not you, it will be your fears. If it's not your purpose, it will be your distractions. If it's not your discipline, it will be your emotions. The mind does not stay empty. It is always being influenced, always being shaped, always moving in a direction. The only question is, are you the one directing it? Most people go through life reacting instead of thinking. They wake up and immediately check their phones, absorbing other people's opinions before forming their own. They let circumstances dictate their mood. A small inconvenience ruins their entire day. A single failure convinces them they are not good enough. They don't realize that what they are experiencing is not just life happening to them. It is their untrained mind interpreting everything in the weakest possible way. You cannot build a strong life with a weak mind. It's impossible. Because everything you do begins in your mind. Every decision, every action, every habit, it all starts as a thought. And if your thoughts are undisciplined, your life will be undisciplined. If your thoughts are negative, your life will reflect negativity. If your thoughts are filled with doubt, you will hesitate when it matters most. The mind is powerful, but it is also dangerous when left unmanaged. It can convince you to quit when you should continue. It can magnify your fears until they feel bigger than reality. It can remind you of every past mistake and make you believe that your future will be the same. And if you don't challenge those thoughts, you will start believing them as truth. That is how life ends up mastering people, not through external force, but through internal surrender. They surrender their thoughts to fear. They surrender their beliefs to limitations. They surrender their potential to comfort. And once your mind is surrendered, everything else follows. But the moment you decide to take control of your mind, everything begins to change. Controlling your mind does not mean you will never have negative thoughts. That's unrealistic. Thoughts will come, doubt, fear, insecurity, they will all show up uninvited. But strength is not about preventing those thoughts. It's about refusing to let them stay. It's about recognizing them for what they are. Temporary mental noise, not permanent truth. You have to become the observer of your own thinking. You have to question your thoughts instead of blindly accepting them. When your mind says you can't do this, you have to ask based on what. When it says you're not good enough, you have to challenge who decided that. When it reminds you of past failures, you have to respond, that was then, this is now. Because if you don't question your mind will question your worth. And the problem is, most people trust their thoughts too much. They assume that because they think something, it must be true. But your mind is not always telling you the truth. It is often telling you what is familiar. And if you've spent years feeding your mind with fear, doubt, and negativity, then of course that is what will feel natural. But natural does not mean right. You have to retrain your mind, and retraining requires repetition. Just like your body becomes stronger through consistent exercise, your mind becomes stronger through consistent discipline. You cannot think positively once and expect your mindset to change. You have to practice it daily. You have to intentionally replace weak thoughts with strong ones, limiting beliefs with empowering ones. This is not about pretending everything is perfect. This is about choosing to focus on what strengthens you instead of what weakens you. Because whatever you focus on grows. If you focus on your problems, they will feel bigger. If you focus on your fears, they will feel more real. But if you focus on your growth, your progress, your possibilities, you begin to expand beyond your current limitations. Your mind is like soil. It does not care what you plant in it. Whether it's seeds of doubt or seeds of belief, it will grow whatever you consistently give it. And many people are unconsciously planting negativity every single day through what they watch, what they listen to, the people they surround themselves with, and the thoughts they entertain. Then they wonder why their life feels heavy. You cannot feed your mind garbage and expect it to produce greatness. If you want to build an unbreakable life, you have to become extremely selective about what you allow into your mind. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every opinion matters. Not every voice should influence you. Protect your mind like your future depends on it, because it does. Pay attention to your environment. The conversations you engage in, the content you consume, the people you spend time with, they are all shaping your mindset, whether you realize it or not. If you are constantly surrounded by negativity, excuses, and small thinking, it will eventually affect you. You cannot stay strong in a weak environment without being intentional. And sometimes mastering your mind means removing yourself from places and people that are comfortable but not beneficial. Growth is uncomfortable. It requires you to think differently, act differently, and sometimes walk alone. But that discomfort is necessary, because you cannot become a stronger version of yourself while holding onto the habits and mindset of your weaker self. There is also something you must understand about your mind. It seeks comfort by default. It will always try to protect you from discomfort, even if that discomfort is necessary for your growth. It will tell you to rest when you need to work. It will tell you to quit when things get hard. It will tell you to avoid risk, avoid failure, avoid anything that feels uncertain. And if you listen to it without discipline, you will stay exactly where you are. That is why mastering your mind requires you to go against it sometimes. To do what is necessary, not what is comfortable. To act based on purpose, not feelings. Because feelings change. One day you feel motivated, the next day you don't. One day you feel confident, the next day you doubt yourself. If your actions depend on your feelings, your progress will always be inconsistent. But when your actions are driven by discipline, your feelings become irrelevant. You show up even when you don't feel like it. You work even when you're tired. You stay committed even when it's hard. And over time, that consistency builds a level of mental strength that cannot be easily shaken. Another key to mastering your mind is learning how to handle failure. Because failure is one of the biggest mental battles you will face. It challenges your confidence, your belief, your identity. It tries to convince you that you are not capable. But failure is not the enemy. Your interpretation of failure is. If you see failure as the end, it will break you. But if you see it as feedback, it will build you. Every mistake, every setback, every loss, it carries a lesson. And if you are willing to learn, you will come back stronger every time. Strong minds do not avoid failure. They grow through it. They understand that success is not a straight path. It is messy. It is unpredictable. It requires patience, resilience, and a willingness to keep going even when the results are not immediate. And that is where most people struggle. They want quick results. They want instant success. And when it doesn't happen, their mind turns against them. It tells them to quit, to settle, to lower their expectations. But mastering your mind means resisting that urge. It means staying focused on the long-term vision, even when the short-term is difficult. Because the truth is, anything meaningful takes time. Strength is not built overnight. Confidence is not developed in a day. Discipline is not formed in a moment. These are qualities that are built through consistent effort over time. And your mind has to be strong enough to endure that process. You also have to learn the power of self-talk. The way you speak to yourself matters more than the way anyone else speaks to you. Because you are with yourself every single day. Your inner voice is constant. And if that voice is negative, critical, and discouraging, it will slowly destroy your confidence. But if that voice is strong, encouraging, and disciplined, it will push you forward even when everything else is against you. Stop speaking to yourself like you are your enemy. Speak to yourself like you are someone you are responsible for leading. Hold yourself accountable, but also support yourself. Be honest about your weaknesses, but don't let them define you. Recognize your mistakes, but don't let them become your identity. You are not your past. You are not your failures. You are not your doubts. You are the one who decides what to do next. And that decision, that daily decision to take control of your mind, is what separates those who break from those who become unbreakable. Because when you master your mind, you don't eliminate challenges. You become stronger than them. You don't stop fear from appearing. You stop fear from controlling you. You don't avoid pressure. You perform under it. And once your mind is strong, life loses its ability to shake you at your core. So don't wait for life to get easier. Train your mind to get stronger. Discipline is the foundation of unbreakable strength, because without it, everything else you build will eventually collapse. You can have big dreams, powerful intentions, even moments of motivation. But if you don't have discipline, none of it will last. Discipline is what turns vision into reality. It is what separates those who talk from those who transform. Most people misunderstand discipline. They think it is punishment. They think it is restriction. They think it is forcing yourself to live a life without freedom. But the truth is the opposite. Kasamatsa says, Tosin, discipline is not the enemy of freedom. It is the pathway to it. Because when you are disciplined, you are no longer controlled by your moods, your impulses, or your environment. You become the one in charge. Without discipline, you wake up when you feel like it, work when you feel like it, stop when it gets uncomfortable, and quit when it gets hard. Your life becomes a reflection of your emotions, and emotions are unstable. They change constantly. One moment you feel inspired, the next moment you feel tired. One day you feel confident, the next day you doubt everything. If your life is built on feelings, it will never be consistent. And anything inconsistent cannot become strong. That's why discipline matters. Because discipline does not ask how you feel. It tells you what must be done. It is the voice that says get up when your body says stay in bed. It is the force that pushes you to keep going when your mind is searching for excuses. It is the commitment to show up even when no one is watching, even when no one is clapping, even when there is no immediate reward. And that is where real strength is built, in the unseen moments. Not when it's easy, not when it's exciting, but when it's repetitive, when it's boring, when it's uncomfortable. Anyone can be consistent when they feel motivated. But only disciplined people remain consistent when motivation disappears. And motivation will disappear. There will be days when you don't feel like working on your goals. Days when you feel tired, distracted, overwhelmed. Days when progress feels slow and results feel invisible. And in those moments, you will be tempted to stop, to delay, to tell yourself, I'll do it tomorrow. But tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next month. And before you know it, you've lost time you can never get back. Discipline protects you from that cycle. It keeps you moving forward even when your feelings are trying to pull you back. It creates a structure in your life that does not depend on your emotions. And over time, that structure becomes your strength. Because strength is not built in one big decision. It is built in thousands of small ones. Every time you choose to do what is necessary instead of what is comfortable, you are building discipline. Every time you keep your word to yourself, you are strengthening your character. Every time you push through resistance, you are becoming more resilient. And these small decisions compound. They build habits, and habits shape your life. Your life right now is a reflection of your habits. What you do daily, how you spend your time, how you manage your energy, how you respond to challenges. These patterns are determining your future. If your habits are weak, your life will be weak. But if your habits are strong, your life will become strong. And habits are built through discipline. You don't wake up one day and suddenly become disciplined. You create it through repetition, through consistency, through doing the same things over and over again until they become part of who you are. At first it feels hard. It feels forced. It feels like you are going against your natural tendencies. But that's because your old habits are still strong. Your mind is used to comfort, to shortcuts, to avoiding effort. But the more you practice discipline, the more natural it becomes. What once felt difficult becomes normal. What once required effort becomes automatic. And eventually, discipline is no longer something you do. It becomes who you are. And when that happens, everything changes. Because now you don't rely on motivation to act. You act because it is your standard. You don't negotiate with excuses. You eliminate them. You don't wait for the right moment. You create it. This is what makes a person unbreakable. Not talent, not luck, not circumstances, but discipline. Because life will test you. It will challenge your patience, your focus, your commitment. It will present obstacles that make you question your path. It will create situations where quitting feels easier than continuing. And in those moments, your discipline will be the only thing holding you together. It will remind you of who you decided to become. It will keep you aligned with your purpose. It will give you the strength to continue, even when everything inside you wants to stop. But here is something you must understand. Discipline is not just about doing more. It's about doing what matters. Being busy is not the same as being productive. You can spend your entire day working and still make no progress if your actions are not aligned with your goals. Discipline requires clarity. You must know what you are building and why you are building it. Because without that clarity, your effort becomes scattered. You move, but you don't advance. So you have to be intentional with your time. You have to prioritize what truly matters. You have to eliminate distractions that pull you away from your purpose. And there are many distractions: social media, entertainment, unnecessary conversations, negative environments. These things may seem harmless in small amounts, but over time they drain your focus and weaken your discipline. Because every time you choose distraction over purpose, you reinforce a habit of avoidance. And avoidance is the enemy of growth. You cannot build strength while constantly escaping discomfort. You cannot develop discipline while always choosing the easy option. So, you have to make a decision. Are you willing to sacrifice short-term comfort for long-term strength? Because that is the trade-off. Discipline will cost you something. It will cost you convenience. It will cost you laziness. It will cost you the comfort of doing whatever you feel like doing. But what it gives you in return is far greater. It gives you control. It gives you consistency. It gives you the ability to shape your life instead of reacting to it. And over time, it gives you confidence. Not the kind of confidence that comes from external validation, but the kind that comes from self-respect. The kind that comes from knowing that you can trust yourself, that when you say you will do something, you will do it. That is powerful. Because many people don't trust themselves. They break their own promises. They set goals and abandon them. They start things and never finish them. And every time they do that, they weaken their self-belief. But when you are disciplined, you build trust with yourself. You prove day after day that you are reliable, that you are committed, that you are capable of following through. And that trust becomes your foundation. It allows you to take on bigger challenges, to pursue greater goals, to step into opportunities that once felt out of reach. Because now you are not just hoping you can succeed. You know you have the discipline to do what is required. And that is what makes you unbreakable. Not because life becomes easier, but because you become stronger than your excuses, stronger than your distractions, stronger than your doubts. So don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait for the perfect conditions. Start where you are. Start with small disciplines. Wake up when you say you will. Complete the tasks you commit to. Stay focused when it's easier to drift. Finish what you start. These small actions may seem insignificant, but they are building something powerful inside you. They are building a mindset that does not quit. A mindset that does not depend on feelings. A mindset that keeps going no matter what. And once that mindset is established, nothing can easily break you. Because discipline is not just something you practice. It becomes your identity. And when discipline becomes who you are, strength becomes your standard. Emotional control creates inner power. Because no matter how strong you appear on the outside, if you are weak on the inside, if your emotions control you, then life will always have a way of shaking you. Not every battle you face will be physical or visible. Some of the most difficult battles will happen within you, quietly, privately, in moments when no one else is watching, but everything inside you feels like it's collapsing. And in those moments, your emotions will try to take over. They will try to convince you to react instead of respond, to speak when you should be silent, to quit when you should endure, to make decisions based on how you feel right now instead of what truly matters in the long run. That is why emotional control is not optional. It is essential. Because life will test you emotionally more than anything else. People will misunderstand you. Some will underestimate you. Others may betray your trust. Situations will not go as planned. You will face delays, disappointments, and unexpected setbacks. And every one of these experiences will trigger something inside you. Anger, frustration, sadness, fear. These emotions are natural. You are human. You are supposed to feel, but the danger is not in feeling. It is in being controlled by what you feel. Because emotions are temporary, but decisions made in emotional moments can have permanent consequences. Think about how many people destroy opportunities because they couldn't control their anger. How many relationships break because someone reacted instead of communicating? How many dreams are abandoned because fear became louder than faith? It's not that they lacked ability, it's that they lacked emotional discipline. And emotional discipline is what separates those who rise from those who fall. Strong people are not those who never feel pain. Strong people are those who feel deeply but still choose wisely. They don't deny their emotions, they manage them. They don't let emotions drive their actions. They let values and purpose lead the way. Because when you allow emotions to lead, your life becomes unstable. One moment you're excited, the next moment you're discouraged, one day you're confident, the next day you're doubting everything. One situation goes wrong and suddenly you feel like everything is falling apart. This instability makes it impossible to build anything lasting. But when you develop emotional control, you create stability within yourself, even when everything around you is unstable. And that is where real power comes from. Inner power is not about controlling the world around you. It's about controlling yourself within the world. It's about being able to stay calm when others are losing control. It's about maintaining focus when distractions are everywhere. It's about responding with clarity when situations are chaotic. And this level of control does not happen by accident. It is trained. Just like you train your body and your mind, you have to train your emotions. You have to become aware of what you feel without immediately acting on it. That pause, that moment between feeling and action is where your power lies. Because in that moment, you have a choice. You can react impulsively or you can respond intentionally. Most people react. They allow their emotions to dictate their behavior. If they feel angry, they express anger. If they feel discouraged, they stop trying. If they feel afraid, they avoid the situation. But reacting is easy. It requires no discipline. Responding, on the other hand, requires control. It requires awareness. It requires strength. It requires you to step back from your emotions and ask yourself, what is the right response here? What aligns with who I want to become? Because every emotional moment is an opportunity to either strengthen or weaken yourself. If you give in to every impulse, you train yourself to be reactive. But if you learn to pause, to think, to choose your response, you train yourself to be strong. And over time, this practice builds emotional resilience. Resilience is the ability to absorb pressure without breaking. It is the ability to go through difficult experiences without losing your sense of self. And emotional control is what makes resilience possible. Because without it, every challenge feels overwhelming. Every criticism feels personal. Every setback feels like a failure. But with emotional control, you begin to see things differently. You realize that not everything deserves a reaction, that not every opinion matters, that not every situation requires your energy. You become selective. You stop wasting your energy on things that do not contribute to your growth. You stop engaging in unnecessary conflicts. You stop allowing other people's behavior to dictate your peace. And this is important because your energy is limited. If you spend it reacting to everything, you will have nothing left for what truly matters. But when you protect your energy, when you control your emotional responses, you preserve your strength. You become more focused, more intentional, more effective. Another important part of emotional control is learning how to handle pain. Because pain is unavoidable. You will experience loss. You will face rejection. You will go through moments where things don't work out the way you hope. And in those moments, your emotions will be heavy. But here is where many people make a mistake. They either suppress their emotions or they let their emotions consume them. Both are harmful. Suppressing emotions does not make them disappear. It only pushes them deeper, where they can build pressure and eventually explode. And allowing emotions to consume you makes it difficult to function, to think clearly, to move forward. So what is the balance? The balance is processing your emotions without being controlled by them. It's allowing yourself to feel pain but not letting that pain define you. It's acknowledging your emotions but not surrendering your actions to them. You can feel hurt and still choose to grow. You can feel afraid and still take action. You can feel discouraged and still continue. Because your feelings do not have to determine your future. You are not your emotions. You are the one experiencing them. And that distinction is powerful. Because once you understand that you are separate from your emotions, you begin to realize that you have control over how you respond to them. again. You stop identifying with every feeling. You stop saying, I am angry, and start recognizing, I feel anger, but I am not anger. And that shift creates space to choose, space to think, space to act with intention. Emotional control also requires humility, because sometimes your emotions will be triggered by your ego. You feel the need to prove yourself, to defend your pride, to win every argument, to always be right. And these impulses can lead you into unnecessary battles. But strong people don't fight every battle. They choose their battles wisely. They understand that not everything is worth their time or energy. That sometimes the strongest response is silence. That sometimes walking away is not weakness, it is wisdom. Because true strength is not about domination, it is about control. Control over your words, control over your reactions, control over your behavior. And this control gives you an advantage in every area of life. In your relationships, it allows you to communicate more effectively, to listen more deeply, to respond with understanding instead of judgment. In your work, it allows you to stay focused under pressure, to make better decisions, to handle challenges with clarity. In your personal growth, it allows you to stay committed, to push through discomfort, to remain consistent even when things are difficult. Because when your emotions are under control, your actions become more intentional. And intentional actions lead to meaningful results. But let's be honest, this is not easy. There will be moments when you fail, moments when you react instead of respond, moments when your emotions get the best of you. And that's part of the process. The goal is not perfection, the goal is progress. Every time you become aware of your emotional response, every time you pause before reacting, every time you choose a better response, you are strengthening your emotional control. And over time, these small improvements create a significant transformation. You become calmer under pressure, more patient in difficult situations, more focused in moments of distraction. You become someone who cannot be easily shaken. And when you reach that point, something powerful happens. Life still brings challenges. People still act unpredictably. Situations still go wrong. But you remain steady. You remain grounded. You remain in control. And that is what makes you unbreakable. Not the absence of problems, but the presence of inner stability. So don't try to control everything around you. That's impossible. Control what is within you. Train your emotions. Strengthen your responses. Protect your energy. Because when you master your emotions, you unlock a level of power that nothing external can take away. Build character that can withstand any storm. Because at the end of the day, it is not your talent that determines how far you go. It is your character that determines how long you last. Talent can open doors, but character keeps them open. Skill can create opportunities, but character decides what you do with them. And when life becomes difficult, and it will, your character is the only thing that will hold you together when everything else feels like it's falling apart. Character is not something you turn on when people are watching. It is who you are when no one is there to applaud you, correct you, or hold you accountable. It is the decisions you make in private. It is the standards you keep when there is no external pressure forcing you to do the right thing. It is the quiet consistency of doing what is right even when it is hard, even when it costs you something. And that is where many people struggle. They focus on appearances instead of foundations. They want to look successful, respected, disciplined, but they don't invest in becoming those things internally. They build an image, but not an identity. And when life tests them, that image collapses because it was never supported by real substance. You cannot fake character. Eventually, life will expose what is real. Pressure has a way of revealing truth. When things are easy, anyone can appear strong, kind, disciplined. But when challenges come, when you are stressed, when you are frustrated, when things are not going your way, that is when your true character shows. Do you remain honest when dishonesty would benefit you? Do you stay committed when it becomes inconvenient? Do you take responsibility when it would be easier to blame someone else? Do you maintain integrity when no one would know if you didn't? These are the moments that define you, because character is not built in comfort, it is built in conflict. It is built when you have the opportunity to take shortcuts but choose the longer, harder path because it aligns with your values. It is built when you are tempted to quit but decide to continue because you gave your word. It is built when you are tested and choose principle over convenience. And every time you make that choice, you strengthen your foundation. Think of character as the roots of a tree. The deeper the roots, the stronger the tree can stand against storms. But those roots are invisible. No one sees them. No one praises them. Yet they are the reason the tree does not fall. In the same way, your character is often unseen. People may not recognize the discipline, the integrity, the sacrifices you make behind the scenes. But those unseen choices are what give you stability when life becomes unstable. Without strong character, success becomes dangerous. Because if you achieve success without the discipline to manage it, it will control you. If you gain influence without integrity, you will misuse it. If you reach higher levels without responsibility, you will eventually fall. And many people do. They rise quickly, but they cannot sustain it because their character was not developed at the same level as their ambition. So if you truly want to become unbreakable, you must prioritize who you are becoming over what you are achieving. Because achievement without character is temporary, but character creates lasting success. One of the core elements of strong character is integrity. Integrity means alignment. It means your words match your actions. It means your public life matches your private life. It means you are the same person, regardless of who is around you. And this is powerful because it creates trust, not just with others, but with yourself. When you have integrity, you don't have to remember what you said or pretend to be something you're not. You move with clarity. You act with confidence. You know that you are standing on truth. But integrity is not always easy. There will be moments when telling the truth is uncomfortable. When doing the right thing costs you opportunities. When standing by your values isolates you from others. And in those moments, your character is being tested. It's easy to compromise when it benefits you. It's easy to adjust your standards to fit the situation. But every time you compromise your integrity, you weaken your foundation. And over time, those small compromises become cracks. At first, they seem insignificant. But eventually, under enough pressure, those cracks cause everything to collapse. That is why you must be consistent. Consistency is another pillar of strong character. Not just consistency when things are going well, but consistency when they are not. Consistency in your effort, your attitude, your principles. Because anyone can do the right thing occasionally. But strong character is revealed in repetition. It is revealed in your ability to maintain your standards day after day, regardless of circumstances. This kind of consistency builds reliability. People begin to trust you because they know what to expect from you. They know you will show up. They know you will follow through. They know you will not change based on convenience. And more importantly, you begin to trust yourself. You know that you are dependable, that you can handle responsibility, that you will not abandon your values when things get difficult, and that self-trust is a form of strength that cannot be easily broken. Another important aspect of character is responsibility. Taking responsibility for your life, your actions, your decisions, not blaming others for your situation, not making excuses for your behavior, not avoiding accountability when things go wrong. Because the moment you shift blame, you lose power. If everything is someone else's fault, then you have no control, no ability to change, no opportunity to grow. But when you take responsibility, you take ownership. You acknowledge your role in your situation. You identify what you can improve. You focus on what is within your control. And that mindset allows you to grow. It allows you to learn from mistakes instead of being defined by them. It allows you to move forward instead of staying stuck in the past. Responsibility is not about being perfect. It is about being accountable. It is about saying, this is on me and I will do better. And that attitude builds resilience. Because instead of being defeated by challenges, you use them as opportunities to strengthen yourself. Character also requires courage. Not just physical courage, but moral courage. The courage to stand alone when necessary. The courage to speak truth when it is unpopular. The courage to make decisions based on principle, not pressure. Because there will be times when doing the right thing will not be supported by others. You may face criticism. You may face rejection. You may feel isolated. But strong character does not depend on approval. It is guided by conviction. It is driven by a clear understanding of what is right, regardless of external opinions. And this kind of courage makes you unshakable, because you are no longer influenced by every voice, every trend, every expectation. You move with purpose. You act with intention. You stand firm in your values. And when you combine integrity, consistency, responsibility, and courage, you create a foundation that can withstand any storm. Life will still test you. There will be moments of pressure, uncertainty, and difficulty. But instead of breaking, you will bend and adapt. Instead of collapsing, you will stand and endure. Because your strength is not based on circumstances. It is rooted in your character. And that is what makes you truly unbreakable. So don't focus only on what you are building externally. Focus on who you are building internally. Because everything external can be taken away. Money, status, recognition, but your character, that is yours. And if it is strong enough, you can lose everything and still rebuild. You can face setbacks and still rise. You can go through storms and still stand. So build it daily. Through your choices, through your actions, through your commitment to becoming someone who does not just chase success, but can sustain it. Because when your character is strong, life may challenge you, but it will never break you.